Hello everybody! Today's video is about Alaskan culture and about Alaskan vocabulary. There's so many words up here that I thought I knew what they meant and they mean something totally different here. Or people just talk about things casually and I'm like, oh, no idea what they're talking about. So today, Alaskan vocabulary lesson. I have a long list and they are in no particular order. So, number 1, hardpack. I actually saw a sign yesterday for hardpack removal. Not too hard to figure out, but I had never heard that term before living here. So after months and months and months of snow and you driving on your snow in your driveway, even if you plow it, you still have a tiny bit that compresses and creates, it's ice, but it's more just smushed hard snow and it's difficult to get rid of. Like you basically chisel it out. And so you'll find when people drive into their garages, they'll be hard pack and they'll clunk down into the garage. And so you have to like really keep that chipped away all winter long. So the Alaska basics are sourdough and chichaco. Let me look that up. Let me make sure I'm saying that right. Chichaco. Okay, so a sourdough is a person who is not Athabascan or native to Alaska, but is from Alaska. Bonus vocabulary word, Athabascan is the tribe of people up here. So if you are a sourdough, basically you're a white person who lives in Alaska for more than 7 years. That's the number I keep hearing being thrown around. A chichaco is a new person to Alaska trying to figure out what they're doing. They're a greenie, basically. Vocabulary number 3 is breakup. Alaska does not have the 4 seasons. We do not have spring. We have about a day and a half of fall. You might miss it if you are at work that day. It'll just happen and it'll be gone. We have summer, winter, and breakup. So it's called breakup because the rivers are frozen on the top and obviously flowing on the bottom all winter long. And in the summer, in the breakup, it warms up enough that the ice chunks on top start moving around and flowing down river, and sometimes they get all clumped together and stuck, and that creates breakup. Another seasonal term you will hear a lot is the midnight sun. That's because in the summer, the sun never sets. The sun kind of does this like rotation overhead, but it never actually goes beyond the horizon for about a month, maybe 2. It's a long time. Most of the summer, the sun does not go down. And if it does, it just like barely goes down and comes right back up. People here also talk a lot about the equinox and the solstice. Those are not Alaskan specific terms, but I just never cared about things like that. So the winter equinox is the shortest day of, is that right? Let me check. I lied. So it is summer equinox, winter solstice. And those are the shortest and the longest days of the year. So people here really make a big deal about the winter solstice because that means we're gonna start getting daylight back. All winter long, it's getting, I don't know, darker by 7 minutes a day at some points. So when we start making the curve like we are right now to get more and more sun every day, it's a huge deal and people are excited about it. And then summer solstice is the longest day of the year before we start seeing the decline in sun back down to the winter. A common term you will hear up here when you are house shopping especially is permafrost. Permafrost is when the ground never thaws. So there's a lot of water content and ice in the dirt itself. For us, a trick I was told, I don't know if this is true, is that if you have a forest of a lot of birch trees like we do, there's no permafrost. And that if you have a forest with black spruce, that means there is permafrost. The birch trees need more space for their root system, where a black spruce is tall but super skinny. It doesn't get big and bushy like a different evergreen because it doesn't have the energy. So its roots can go very shallow. So what permafrost means for your house, you never ever want to build on permafrost. People do anyway. There is a house across town that was built on permafrost. It's a long 2-story house, and the roof line is very visibly sinking. None of the windows fit in the square anymore because everything's a little bit off. We even looked at a house that was built on permafrost, and it basically had jacks under the whole house, knowing that the permafrost would melt and adjust in different ways, and you would have someone come over and re-level your house with the jacks so that your windows and doors would open. Frost heaves. Let me look up the technical definition of frost heaves. Frost heaves is this weird thing where on long stretches of road, like freeways and stuff, like our main highway into town, the road is wavy. So underneath the pavement, that moisture in the dirt, sort of like permafrost, it moves and shifts with the crazy temperature swings. So it freezes and expands and kind of pushes up the roads. So all our roads are just a little bit wavy. I probably got the most heat for this one of any of them. Snow machine. I think a snow machine is a thing, probably a machine, I don't know, that makes snow. To all of you from the lower 48, a snow machine is a snowmobile. If you call it a snowmobile up here, it's a red flag. You are new here. They are not snowmobiles. And they will tell you anytime you say it incorrectly. In my heart, it will always be a snowmobile because it's an automobile for the snow, but I'm just conforming so that I, can have friends up here. You will often hear people say that the lights were out last night. No, their power didn't go out at their house. They're talking about the Aurora Borealis, the northern lights, commonly just referred to as the lights. We see them a lot up here, typically January, February, but very, very early in the morning, 2, 3 a.m. I have seen them at 10, 11 p.m., but it's very unusual. Most people fly up here when they're coming up, but I think every Alaskan at some point wants to do the Alcan Highway. And the Alcan Highway is a shortened way of saying the Alaska to Canada highway. So it's a super long highway. It is, from what I hear, not super well maintained. It goes through Canada all the way up to Fairbanks, and I want to do it one day. My husband wants to do it one day. You have to bring lots of extra tires from what I hear, depending on the time of year you go. You want to be sure to have bear spray. There's not a lot of rest stops, so you might just like stop for a break on the side of the road, go find a tree to use, and you really have to look out for bears. Everyone that I know that has driven it has run into bears, which is cool when you're like safely in your car. But it is the wilderness for sure. When preparing to make this video, my friend Billy reminded me I had to include bunny boots. Now, bunny boots are not Alaska specific, but I think you will see them in Alaska a lot more than other places. They are a boot designed by the military for extreme temperatures. I don't really know how they work, but they're good up to like -70 or something ridiculous like that. They look crazy. They always make them white, so they're instantly filthy. And they kind of look like a marshmallow on your foot. But apparently they're amazing and they work great. Okay, I wanna get my facts right on this one. So, in the state of Alaska, we do not have counties. It is a giant state, way bigger than Texas. We don't get the credit for that. It's huge up here. So there's a lot of undocumented, unincorporated land that no one lives on. There's no cities. There might be villages. You could have a cabin out there. There's no fire department, water, sewer, anything. So instead of counties, we have boroughs. According to Google, Alaska is divided into 19 organized boroughs and 1 unorganized borough. And Alaska and Louisiana apparently are the only states that have something other than counties. Apparently in Louisiana, they're called parishes. Up here, they're called boroughs. Along with that, we technically live in the interior of Alaska. We are right in the center. Fairbanks is the biggest city in the interior of Alaska. As of 2017, that was only 31,000 people that lived in Fairbanks, and it's the biggest city. Cities that you hear of like Juneau and Anchorage are below that southern mountain range. And so they get different weather. They get a lot more rain in the spring. As far as I know, I haven't actually been there, but it is warmer down there than it is all the way up here in the interior. There are people that live above the interior and it's wicked cold. One of the tourist attractions up here is the Alaskan Pipeline, which I'm actually super intrigued by because I don't know if it could get built today. Like, there would be so much red tape and environmental studies. It's an amazing feat that they did. So technically, the transatlantic pipeline system is an oil transportation system spanning Alaska, including Trans-Alaska Crude Pipe Oil. It is several hundred miles of pipe. The Alaskan Pipeline is 800 miles long and 48 inches around. It's huge. Okay, I'm getting to the end of my list. Oh, only 2 left, and technically they are both native words, so I guess I saved those for last. First up is an ulu. An ulu is a hunting knife, I believe. Let me get it right here. It is an all-purpose knife traditionally used by the Inuit people. You see them all the time here in gift shops and stuff. I assume those are not like legit ulu knives. But it says here that they use them for everything from skinning and cleaning animals to cutting food. They can use them as a weapon or cutting a child's hair. It really doesn't seem like the most efficient tool for that, but sure, why not? Okay, last on the list is a word I always say wrong, which is probably why I avoided it the entire list and waited till last. I don't want to say it wrong. Here, I'm gonna let my phone tell you.
Cuspuk.
A cuspuk. A cuspuk is a native style of garb. I know of them because our local elementary school has Cuspuk Wednesdays, where children wear brightly colored cuspuk shirts to school as a way of honoring the Alaskan heritage. In my opinion, a cuspuk kind of just looks like a giant hoodie, but I also am ignorant and don't really know about their history. However, you do see children wearing them. You never see them made by a factory. You'll see them in shops, but they're always a little more expensive because they are handmade still here in Alaska. All right, and we've come to the end of my list. I am sure that I missed things. I'm sure I misdefined things. I was just doing my best to get through my huge list of things that I had no idea about before I lived here. So if any one of these things manages to help you have a conversation and sound like a native, my job is done. All right, guys, I will see you in the next video. Bye.